That's probably a similar lesson that I've learned, because I'm a stick to my guns type person in terms of how much I'm going to offer. And if it isn't within that range, I will walk away.
When you're doing diligence, is there anything that you're going to walk away from that you might see at this rental property where you're like, I'm just not touching that?
It's got to be really bad for me to leave.
Right, because you've already worked it in the cost, right? You probably already have some. But is there anything where you're just like, no, or maybe that you would advise a newer investor to stay away from?
I mean, foundation issues can really break your budget. But, I mean, if I'm honest, I don't walk away from them. We had a house that we lifted up and redid the foundation. To be honest, I think we should have knocked it down. But we lifted the house up, redid the foundation. But anyway.
That's insane. Did that project go well?
I mean, I stay the course. I don't know. I think I'm the type of person, I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So if I say I'm going to buy your house, I'm going to buy it.
Right.
I'm not trying to find ways to walk away.
Yeah.
So if it's something I missed, I mean, I do have an inspection window in there, but like, for instance, I had a house that the day before closing, someone stole the HVAC unit, right? So I called up the seller and I'm like, we're going to have to come down on the price because I gotta buy a new HVAC unit. It's gone. So I'll do something like that, but I won't necessarily say, nah, I'm not doing this deal.
I think earlier on I had the mindset of if I found something that was like $5,000 more than I expected, I was like, man, $5,000. Like, I got to make this right. Like, who cares? The asset's worth $200,000 or whatever it is. Like, and you're not going to know about that $5,000 a year from now, or maybe even after the refi, you can make up like. And so I really learned that when there was an investor, a successful investor. I was walking down the street with him. There were some properties on both ends that we were kind of looking at. And he pointed at a house and said, you know, one of my first deals, one of the first leads that I almost had was that house right there. And he pointed to it. And I looked up and you know, it would have been a beautiful rental. It was in a great area. And he said, I didn't buy that house because it was $3,000 more than I wanted to pay for it. It has since appreciated like $150,000 in the past, you know, 20, whatever, how many, 15 years or whatever. And he was just like, I can't believe, like, lesson learned, never let $3,000 stand in the way of you getting that deal. And so there has to be some level of, obviously, discipline to stick to know what your budget, what your numbers are, know when to say no. But there's also, at least for me, I'm not a very analytical person. If I'm close and within my range, like, I'm just going to roll with it.
Well, I guess I answered your question from the perspective I already have it under contract, right? So that's probably a similar lesson that I've learned, because I'm a stick to my guns type person in terms of how much I'm going to offer. And if it isn't within that range, I will walk away. So I don't know. I haven't regretted any of those, though.
But there's like a gut instinct to some deals, too, where you're like, this is a deal I really want. It's still got to work by the numbers. But there's also other deals that may come close to working by the numbers, and you're like, it doesn't feel right. You know, where I backed out of.
Yeah, I think the beauty of being a buy and hold investor is that the property is going to appreciate. The longer you keep it, the more it's going to go up in value. So you will be able to recapture like any additional costs and things that you've done. But in saying that, I wouldn't say I'm aiming for that, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to overpay because I'm going to keep it, you know, just a little bit over. And like usually for me, this happens in the renovation. I tend to go over what I think it's going to cost. So I've always been able to recapture that if I just keep the property long enough.
And you hold as long as it makes sense.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yes.